So what do you do with your old papers you want shredded? Well, I think I got an idea for you that could help out a lot of folks. George, Arguello, thank you for being here. You're with a company called Bayaud, and you guys shred stuff. Do I have that right?
Yes,
This is what you do. You just shred all day long.
Papers and hard drives.
Really?
Yes.
Get any good stuff?
Oh, a lot of good
A
stuff.
lot of good stuff?
A lot of good stuff.
But what's different about your shredding operation is that it's also a way for handicapped people to get real work experience and to have a job.
Yes.
That's what's different here.
Yes, I think there's only one other company here in Denver that has a shredding quite a bit smaller than Bayaud's that employs people with disabilities. But that was our mission. This was the reason why we developed shredding for a lot of our people with disabilities. Sometimes are just not multifunctional. So this was the perfect job for them. That they don't get stressed out. They love their job. It's a job that is kind of repetitive, but it fits their needs perfectly.
You know, I wouldn't have thought about this 12 years ago. I mean, it would have just been off my radar screen, but I've got a son with Down syndrome. He's not really verbal yet. And I worry about him. He can't read, he can't write, he never will, likely, in any great capacity. I want to be careful about that. The sky's the limit. And I worry about him being able to be productive, being able to have something that he enjoys doing, that he can do. And so when I heard about this operation, it really intrigued me that the idea here is to have a business. This is a business. This isn't, I mean, I know it's wrapped in a charity, but really this is a service business that focuses to help the disabled. How long have you been doing this?
I've been working with Bayaud for 28 years. I personally started up and designed the shredding department back in 2012. I mean 2002. So we've been doing it about 15 years now. 15
years. And how many folks with disabilities work with you?
In the shredding department, I have about 15.
15?
Yes. Some are part-time, some are full-time, and then I have some people who are non-disabled who are drivers.
And what is it they do exactly?
Well, what they'll do, they'll come in, and where we're unique, we separate all the papers, and we separate it from a white paper, which brings in a lot more value when you recycle it compared to the multicolor papers. So they basically separate white from color, and it's.
So you're raising little racists. Is this what I'm hearing?
Well, no, I don't think
White's
so.
here. All right.
Right.
And they do this because you're going to sell the product afterwards, what's shredded, and this helps bring in more money for the operation.
Yes, on the back end, the paper revenue it almost doubles when you recycle pure white paper.
Tell me if I've got this part right. Bayaud is a company that goes out just like Iron Man, I think was one of them, Iron Mountain, and others, which I'm sure your competitors do great jobs, I'm sure. And you have to compete with them. But what's different is you don't do business with us because we're an organization that helps create jobs for the disabled and people going through traumatic recovery and those things. You don't lead with that. You lead with, hey, we can get the job done. Do I have that part right?
That's correct.
So sell me on the company. Why would I go with Bayaud?
Well, you would go with Bayaud because for me, number one, the people that we employ are people with disabilities. They love their job. They show up there all the time. Dependability. And they really don't care what goes through the shredding line. So that's an added security.
So if I need to dispose of a body or something, this is a place to go?
Well, if after hours maybe.
After hours, we'll talk.
But so that is why you want to go. That's another the other big selling point is people with disabilities. They have longevity. So my average person who works in the shredding department is 19 years with Bayaud.
19 years.
Yes.
All right. Now talk to me a little bit outside of your role of shredding things,
okay.
Which, by the way, is a great guy job. Who wouldn't want to build machines that rip things apart?
Right.
This is good stuff. But I think a lot of people have hesitation in hiring somebody with developmental disabilities, and that it's scary, it's unknown, there might be liabilities, it's an unknown thing. Mm-hmm. You're proving that these are people who make the workplace better, and they make it more fun, and they're very loyal, good workers. Tell me about this. Give me an example of a guy who's just done a great job for you.
I give you an example of a person who's worked with me probably 20 to 28 years. Before we had the shredding department, I ran a printing shop and mail room and assembly out of Bayaud. And this particular individual, if the hours would start at 9 o'clock, he was there at 6 o'clock. And all my employees, they're anxious to get to work. On those days when there's snow days, where the staff will say, oh, it's a lot of snow and I'm not going to make it. These individuals, they're coming in on the bus, and they're catching 2 or 3 buses. They leave at 6 o'clock in the morning to get there at work at 9 o'clock. That's the dedication that they have.
Do you ever have a feeling that this is a second-class job? This is something that it's not high skilled. We're not asking you to rebuild an engine. We're not asking you to do interpersonal things at retail. We're asking you to take white papers and put it onto this conveyor belt, and paper with color on this conveyor belt, and therefore it's got to be demeaning. It's got to be insulting. It's make work. Is that ever a feeling among your workers?
No, for them it's. A lot of the people, sometimes it's a struggle to do that, and once they've learned that, it's just like you and I going to work every day. They take pride in their work. Sometimes another advantage, if there's a lot of work, I'll say, hey, you don't have to be so particular, and boy, do they come and they jump down my throat and said, no, this is where I was trained. This is going to be so to me that they're really a better quality control. They keep the staff in line to do it right.
I heard this from a friend of mine, Lloyd Lewis, who works with ARC and does the ARC stores. He said it's amazing when you have somebody who's developmentally delayed or someone with Down syndrome working in your office, working in your place, that a lot of the issues that typical people have that stress them out don't seem as big. So I'm curious, working with the crew you have, the other folks who aren't suffering from these disabilities, how does it affect them?
They really they really looked up to the individuals. The individuals, sometimes a lot of companies would say, well, is it going to be a problem because these folks are a little slower, or do they need accommodations? But then when I look at, to go back even further back before the shredding, I would have to get people to develop jigs so we could do the assembly faster. And when you look at that really teaches us individuals, when I made these jigs, then the people who were considered, I guess, non-disabled, these jigs really improve their production, so they're really teaching us a lot more than we're teaching them.
So it's for the people who are not disabled, this has been a positive experience for them as well.
Definitely, yes.
And you do all this, and it's a competitive business at a competitive price. I mean, if I called up and I shopped around,
you will go with Bayaud.
I would go with Bayaud. You'd actually be able to beat those prices and still be able to provide the same service.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, we can.
And do your customers know that? Do your customers know that when they're working with you on the back end, they're changing lives? Is that part of the sale?
Not for all, but I think if it would come down to it's definite plus. But most people, they're going to go for shredding, they're going to go for price, and our prices are competitive. It's not better than competitive, and that is definitely something on the back end. We have hospitals who are nonprofits that went with went with this number one for price, because I did have the big companies go into individual hospitals and, you know, trying, because that's big money makers. And, you know, at one of the sites, he says, unless you can be 50% cheaper than them, you might have a chance, but we're not. Because I even have a person working at one of the hospitals that has like 350 councils that need to be emptied every day, and he's been there 10 years, and this individual, I have to argue with him to take his vacation leave.
Just a couple seconds left. For those people who are thinking of hiring disabled folks, people with developmental disabilities, what's the quick advice, real fast?
Hire them, because they'll be there forever. You won't have to retrain people every few months. Dedication, loyalty.
And you're doing the right thing. George, thank you. Good luck with Bayaud.
Okay.
Thank you. Listen for me on KHOW Radio. Check out the Independence Institute. That's independenceinstitute.org. We'll see you next week.